The signal from beyond. The quantum sensors aboard the HSS Horizon lit up like a supernova, startling Lieutenant Sarah Chen from her routine monitoring shift. She blinked twice, ensuring her neural implants weren't malfunctioning. The energy signature pulsing across her display defied every known classification in the fleet's database. "Captain Reynolds to the bridge," she called, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "We've detected an anomaly at the edge of the Arcturus sector." Captain Maya Reynolds arrived moments later, her dark eyes scanning the holographic readouts floating above the bridge stations. The Horizon had been patrolling this sector for months, watching for signs of the Nexar invasion fleet that intelligence suggested would strike Earth's outer colony soon. Instead, they'd found something far stranger. "Analysis," Reynolds demanded, her weathered features illuminated by the pulsing red alert indicators. "The energy signature matches nothing in our database, but—" Sarah hesitated, double-checking her readings. "There's an old Earth Defense Force authentication code embedded in the signal. It's from the HSS Atlas." The bridge fell silent. Every officer knew the story of the Atlas, humanity's most advanced warship during the First Interstellar War, lost with all hands during the Battle of Proxima Centauri over 150 years ago. Its disappearance had marked the lowest point of the war, a symbol of humanity's near defeat. "That's impossible," Commander Jack Torres said from his tactical station. "The Atlas was destroyed. There were witnesses." "Apparently not," Reynolds replied, studying the signal pattern. "Lieutenant Chen, can you pinpoint the source?" Sarah's fingers danced through the holographic interface, triangulating the signal's origin. "It's coming from the Arcturus void, the dead zone where no ships can safely navigate due to gravitational distortions." Reynolds straightened, her decision made. "Plot an approach vector, maximum safe distance, all stations to battle readiness. If this is some kind of Nexar trap, I want us ready." The Horizon moved cautiously toward the signal source, its advanced sensors prodding the mysterious void ahead. The quantum distortions that made this region infamous rippled across their shields, creating ethereal patterns in the ship's defensive fields. "Signal growing stronger," Sarah reported. "Whatever it is, it's massive. Coming into visual range now." The main view screen activated, and collective gasps echoed across the bridge. There, emerging from the swirling quantum storms of the void, was a ship. But not just any ship. It was the Atlas, or at least something that had once been the Atlas. Its hull gleamed with an impossible metal that seemed to drink in the light of nearby stars. Geometric patterns flowed across its surface like liquid mathematics, and its size dwarfed the Horizon, despite historical records showing the Atlas as a much smaller vessel. "By the stars," Torres whispered. "What happened to it?" Before anyone could respond, a transmission cut through their communications channels, using protocols that hadn't been used in over a century. A face appeared on their screen, human, but with eyes that glowed with an inner light that spoke of extensive technological enhancement. "This is Captain Diana Shaw of the HSS Atlas, returning to Earth space after what our chronometers indicate has been 153 years relative time." The woman's voice carried authority, but also wonder, as if she too was struggling to process the situation. "We have been transformed. And we bring a warning. The Nexar are not what you think they are. They are running from something far worse, the very thing we encountered in the void between galaxies." Reynolds leaned forward, her voice tight with controlled tension. "Captain Shaw, this is Captain Maya Reynolds of the HSS Horizon. You've been presumed lost for over a century and a half. How is this possible?" Shaw's enhanced eyes flickered with ancient knowledge. "Captain, what we found out there, it changed everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the universe. The Atlas didn't just survive, it evolved. And now we've returned because Earth will need what we've learned. The true war isn't coming from the Nexar. It's coming from the spaces between the stars, where the old ones sleep." As if to emphasize her words, the Atlas's impossible hull rippled with patterns of light that defied physics, and Sarah's sensors detected power readings that exceeded the total energy output of Earth's entire defense fleet. The lost warship had returned, but it had brought with it mysteries that would shake the foundations of human civilization, and warnings of a threat beyond anything they had prepared for. As Reynolds studied the transformed vessel before them, she realized that this was more than just a historical discovery. It was the beginning of humanity's next great leap into the unknown. And somewhere in the void behind the Atlas, ancient forces stirred, awakened by the return of the ship that had discovered their existence. The true war for humanity's survival was about to begin. Legacy of the Stars. Dr. Elena Martinez stood in the Atlas's central chamber, her scientific instruments forgotten in her hands as she stared at the impossibility surrounding her. The boarding team from the horizon had expected to find a relic of humanity's past. Instead, they'd stepped into something that belonged in humanity's furthest future. The chamber's walls rippled with living light, geometric patterns flowing like liquid crystal across surfaces that seemed to phase between solid and energy. The air itself hummed with power, and Elena's augmented senses detected frequencies of energy that shouldn't exist in normal space. Remarkable, isn't it? Captain Shaw appeared beside her, moving with the fluid grace of someone enhanced far beyond standard human capabilities. It took us years to understand even the basics of what the Atlas became. Elena turned to face the legendary captain, noting how Shaw's enhanced eyes shifted colors as she spoke, reflecting the electromagnetic spectrum in ways human eyes never could. What exactly did you encounter out there? These technologies, they're beyond anything we've theorized possible. Shaw gestured, and the chamber responded. The flowing patterns coalesced into three-dimensional images, star maps, technical diagrams, and mathematical formulae that made Elena's advanced degree in theoretical physics seem elementary. We call them the precursors, Shaw explained. When the Atlas was damaged during the Battle of Proxima Centauri, our experimental quantum drive malfunctioned. Instead of destroying us, it threw us into a space between spaces, a void where conventional physics broke down. The images shifted, showing massive structures floating in darkness, geometric shapes that seemed to fold through dimensions Elena's mind couldn't quite grasp. That's where we found their archive, a library of technologies and knowledge left behind by a human civilization that existed millions of years before Earth's recorded history. Human. Elena whispered, her mind reeling. That's impossible. We evolved on Earth. No, Shaw corrected gently. We were seated there, the precursors, our ancestors. They spread across galaxies, built empires that spanned millions of light years. But they encountered something in the dark spaces between galaxies, something that forced them to hide, to scatter their children across thousands of worlds, hoping some would survive. Elena watched as the walls displayed scenes of incredible cities, ships that dwarfed planets, and technologies that seemed more like magic than science. The Atlas, it's been transformed by their technology. Merged with it, Shaw nodded. The ship is alive now, in its way. The quantum crystalline matrices that form its new structure are semi-sentient, capable of learning and adapting. Everything you see here is built from programmable matter that can reconfigure itself at the atomic level. A door that hadn't existed moments before formed in the wall, and Shaw led Elena through it into what had once been the Atlas's engine room. Now it was a cathedral of light and energy, with a pulsing core of impossible geometries at its center. This is why we returned, Shaw said, her voice growing grave. The Nexar aren't invaders, they're refugees. The force that drove the precursors into hiding has awakened again. The Nexar encountered them first, and now they flee toward the only power in the galaxy that might have a chance of stopping them. Us? Elena asked incredulously. But we can barely match the Nexar's technology. Shaw smiled, but there was steel in her enhanced eyes. The precursors left us more than just their technology. Dr. Martinez, they left us their legacy. The Atlas isn't just a ship, it's a key designed to unlock humanity's dormant potential. Every human carries fragments of precursor knowledge in their DNA, waiting to be awakened. As if in response to her words, the crystalline matrices around them pulsed with new patterns, and Elena felt something stir in her mind. Ancient memories that didn't belong to her, knowledge that had slept in her genes for millions of years. The war that's coming isn't just for survival, Shaw continued. It's for the right to reclaim our heritage as inheritors of the most advanced civilization this galaxy has ever known. The Atlas returned not just to warn humanity, but to remind us of who we truly are. Elena watched as her own hand began to glow softly, her body responding to the ship's quantum crystalline environment. Around her, other members of the boarding team were experiencing similar awakenings, their dormant precursor genes activating in the presence of their ancestors' technologies. The lost warship hadn't just returned with advanced technology. It had come back with the truth about humanity's cosmic heritage and the power to unlock the legacy that had slept in human DNA since the first stars burned in the sky. As Elena felt ancient knowledge unfold in her mind, she realized that the real question wasn't whether humanity could face the coming darkness. The question was, what would they become when they fully awakened to their true potential? Ancient Guardians. Commander Jack Torres watched in awe as the combined fleets of Earth assembled around the Atlas. Hundreds of warships, from agile corvettes to massive dreadnoughts, gathered in high orbit. Yet even Earth's mightiest vessels seemed like children's toys compared to the transformed Atlas, its quantum crystalline hull casting prismatic reflections across the Armada. The Nexer fleet will reach our outer defense perimeter in less than 48 hours, Admiral Chen announced to the gathered commanders, her holographic image floating in the Atlas's strategic command center. And now Captain Shaw tells us they're not the real threat. The Nexer are running from something far worse, Shaw confirmed, her enhanced eyes scanning tactical displays that shifted and flowed through the air around them. We call them the Vorex, entities that exist in the spaces between dimensions. The same force that drove the precursors into hiding millions of years ago. Torres studied the tactical projections with growing concern. The Nexer fleet was massive, over 3,000 ships strong, but the readings behind them, at the edge of their long-range sensors, showed something that defied conventional analysis. Space itself seemed to be unraveling. How do we fight something that can tear apart reality? Torres asked. Shaw's expression was grim. With powers the precursors left dormant in our genes, the Atlas isn't just a warship, it's a key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Each of you carries fragments of precursor knowledge and capability in your DNA. It's time to awaken it. The quantum crystalline walls pulsed with new patterns, and Torres felt something stir deep within his mind. Around him, other officers gasped as ancient memories began to surface. Knowledge that had slept in human genes for millions of years. The process has already begun in those exposed to the Atlas's quantum field, Dr. Martinez explained, her own eyes now showing hints of the same enhancement as Shaw's. The changes are spreading exponentially through quantum entanglement. Within hours, every human in the fleet will begin to access abilities that were once considered impossible. As if to demonstrate, Martinez raised her hand. Reality rippled around her fingers, and a miniature galaxy formed in her palm, a perfect tactical representation of their current situation. Torres watched in amazement as his own consciousness expanded, new understanding flooding his mind. The Vorex consume dimensions, Shaw continued. They break down the barriers between realities, absorbing the energy released when universes collide. The Nexer flood because they saw their outer colonies devoured by something they couldn't even comprehend. But we, humanity, were created to be guardians against this very threat. The tactical displays shifted, showing new configurations as the assembled officers began to instinctively understand strategies that would have been impossible hours ago. Ships began to move into formations that followed patterns of sacred geometry, creating quantum resonance fields between vessels. Each ship in the fleet must be transformed, Shaw explained. The Atlas carries enough quantum crystalline matrices to upgrade our entire armada. But more importantly, each crew member will need to embrace the change within themselves. We're not just fighting for survival, We're reclaiming our role as guardians of reality itself. Torres felt the truth of her words in his awakening genes. The knowledge of the precursors wasn't just technical, it was a profound understanding of the universe's fundamental nature. Humanity had been engineered to be sentinels against chaos, warriors who could wield the very fabric of spacetime as a weapon. "The Nexar will arrive first," Admiral Chen said, her own eyes beginning to show signs of enhancement. "If they truly are refugees, we need to make a decision." "We offer them sanctuary," Shaw declared. "The precursors built fail-safes into their technology. Only those with human DNA can fully utilize it. We'll need the Nexar's fleet, fighting alongside us, when the Vorex arrive." The quantum crystalline matrices hummed with power as the transformation spread through the assembled fleet. Ship after ship began to shimmer with new potential as their crews awakened to their heritage. Weapons systems evolved, defensive shields took on new properties, and propulsion systems tapped into dimensions beyond normal space. Torres watched as his own consciousness expanded further, understanding flowing through him like a river of light. The precursors hadn't just been advanced. They had been architects of reality, shapers of dimensions, guardians of existence itself. And now, after millions of years, their children were finally awakening to take up that mantle. As the fleet prepared for the arrival of the Nexar, Torres realized that humanity stood at a turning point. They were about to face an enemy that consumed reality itself. But for the first time, they would do so not as simple humans, but as the inheritors of the most powerful civilization the universe had ever known. The true war for existence was about to begin, and humanity was transforming into something that even their ancestors might have feared, guardians with the power to reshape reality itself. The coming storm. The Nexar fleet emerged from hyperspace like a tide of metallic stars, their crystalline ships reflecting the light of Earth's sun. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, her newly awakened abilities humming through her consciousness, watched as 3,000 alien vessels approached Earth's defense line. But now, with her enhanced perception, she could see the truth. The Nexar ships were battle-scarred, their crews exhausted from running across half a galaxy. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, she reported from her station aboard the transformed Horizon. The ship, like all of Earth's fleet, now pulsed with quantum crystalline energy. Its systems evolved far beyond their original specifications. The message that came through was not one of conquest, but desperation. "This is High Commander Vextal of the Nexar Exodus Fleet," a voice echoed across all channels. "We come not for war, but seeking aid against that which follows us, the darkness between space's hunters." Captain Reynolds, her eyes now gleaming with precursor enhancement, exchanged glances with Captain Shaw's holographic presence. The Atlas hung in high orbit, its massive form dwarfing even the largest Nexar vessels. "Show them." Shaw nodded. Reynolds initiated the quantum broadcast, sharing the knowledge the Atlas had brought back. The truth about the Vorex, about humanity's heritage, about the war that had forced their ancestors to hide their children among the stars. The Nexar fleet's response was immediate. Their ship's energy signatures shifted from battle readiness to something approaching awe. "The legends," Vextal's voice trembled. "Our oldest stories speak of guardians who fought the Void Hunters. We thought them myths." "Not myths," Shaw responded. "But we'll need to work quickly. The Vorex follow close behind you, and we'll need every ship ready for what's coming." The next hours were a blur of activity as human and Nexar ships integrated into a single defense force. The quantum crystalline matrices from the Atlas spread through the alien vessels, not transforming them completely as it had the human ships, but creating bridges of compatibility, allowing both species' technologies to work in harmony. Sarah felt the change in the fabric of space before the sensors detected it. At the edge of the solar system, reality began to fray. "Multiple dimensional breaches detected," she announced, her enhanced mind processing information faster than any computer. "The Vorex are here." They emerged from tiers in spacetime, entities that defied comprehension. Even with her evolved perception, Sarah could barely process what she was seeing. The Vorax were like living holes in reality, their forms spreading across multiple dimensions, consuming the barriers between universes as they moved. All ships, assume Defense Formation Alpha, Admiral Chen commanded. The combined human-Nexer fleet moved as one, forming intricate geometric patterns that reinforced the structure of local spacetime. The knowledge flowing through their awakened genes guided them in ways no tactical computer could match. The first Vorax attack came not as weapons fire, but as a wave of dimensional distortion that threatened to unravel the very fabric of space around the fleet. But humanity was ready. The quantum crystalline matrices in their ships pulsed with power, and reality itself seemed to crystallize around them, becoming resistant to the Vorax's entropic touch. They remember this defense. Shaw's voice carried understanding drawn from ancient memories. This is how the precursors fought them, by strengthening the foundations of reality itself. The battle that followed defied conventional description. Human and Nexer ships moved in perfect synchronization, guided by awakened precursor knowledge. Their weapons weren't just energy beams and projectiles, but concentrated points of dimensional stability that forced the Vorax into patterns they could actually harm. Sarah watched in awe as the Atlas demonstrated the full power of awakened precursor technology. The massive ship didn't just fight. It removed the fabric of space around it, creating zones where the Vorax couldn't maintain their trans-dimensional existence. Forced into a single reality, the cosmic horrors could be engaged and destroyed. But more tiers in spacetime continued to appear. The Vorax were numerous, and their hunger was endless. "We can't keep this up forever," Reynolds observed, even as her ship's weapons crystallized another patch of reality. "We don't have to," Shaw responded. "We just need to hold long enough to complete the final transformation. The precursors left us more than just weapons. They left us a way to become what they once were. The Atlas is the key. And now that humanity has begun to awaken, we can access the full power of our heritage." As if in response to her words, the quantum crystalline matrices throughout the fleet pulsed with new energy. Sarah felt something vast and ancient stirring in her transformed genes, power that had slept for millions of years, waiting for this moment of necessity to fully awaken. The true battle for existence was about to enter its final phase, and humanity was about to complete a transformation millions of years in the making. As reality burned around them, the children of the precursors prepared to rise not just as defenders of their world, but as guardians of existence itself. Inheritors of the stars. Dr. Elena Martinez stood in the heart of the Atlas, surrounded by swirling quantum energies that connected every human in the combined fleet. The ship's crystalline core pulsed with power that defied conventional physics, resonating with the awakened precursor genes in their DNA. Through her enhanced consciousness, she could feel the desperate battle raging across the solar system as human and Nexer ships fought to contain the Vorax invasion. "The final sequence is ready," she announced, her voice carrying through quantum channels to every ship in the fleet. "But there's no going back from this. What we're about to become." "We don't have a choice," Captain Shaw responded, her form now more energy than matter as the transformation progressed. "The Vorax are tearing apart reality faster than we can stabilize it. We need to complete what the precursors began." Through the quantum link, Elena felt the agreement of every human in the fleet. Their partial awakening had shown them the truth. They were never meant to remain as they were. Humanity had been created as a seed, designed to grow into something vast and powerful enough to guard the very fabric of existence. Commander Torres's voice came through the link. "More dimensional breaches forming. The Vorax are converging on Earth itself." Elena watched through multiple layers of reality as the cosmic horrors pressed their attack. The Vorax were like living singularities, their forms stretching across dimensions, consuming the boundaries between realities. The combined fleet fought with everything they had, human and Nexer ships moving in precise formations that strengthened spacetime itself. But it wasn't enough. "Begin the sequence," Shaw ordered. Elena reached out with her transformed consciousness, connecting with the Atlas's quantum core. Ancient knowledge flowed through her mind, the final gift of the precursors to their children. The ship's crystalline matrices began to pulse in new patterns, resonating with the dormant potential in human DNA. The transformation spread through the fleet like a wave of light. Human bodies became vessels of pure energy, their consciousness expanding beyond physical form. Ships merged with their crews, becoming extensions of transformed human will. The knowledge and power that had been seeded in their genes millions of years ago blossomed into full expression. Through her expanded awareness, Alina felt the change ripple through every human in the solar system. They were becoming what they were always meant to be, beings of pure quantum energy, existing simultaneously across multiple dimensions, their consciousness vast enough to perceive and maintain the structure of reality itself. The Vorax recoiled as humanity completed its metamorphosis. Where there had been ships and crews, there were now beings of crystalline light, their forms shifting through dimensions with the same ease as their ancient enemies. The Atlas itself transformed, becoming a nexus of pure quantum energy that connected all of transformed humanity into a single vast consciousness. We understand now. Shaw's voice resonated through dimensions. The precursors didn't hide us to protect us. They hid us so we could evolve differently, become something new. Something that could fight the Vorax in ways they never could. The battle that followed transcended physical combat. Transformed humanity fought the Vorax across multiple planes of existence, using their unique evolution to counter the cosmic horrors in ways the original precursors never imagined. Where the Vorax sought to break down the barriers between realities, humanity's transformed consciousness reinforced them, creating new structures of existence that the dimensional hunters couldn't breach. The Nexar watched in awe as their former enemies became beings of pure light and power, wielding forces that their most advanced sciences could barely detect. Their ships provided anchor points in normal space as humanity fought battles across dimensions. Alina, her consciousness now spread across multiple realities, felt the moment the tide turned. The Vorax, faced with defenders who could match their trans-dimensional nature while maintaining coherent form, began to retreat. Reality itself seemed to crystallize in humanity's wake, becoming resistant to the cosmic horrors and tropic touch. "They're running," Torres announced, his voice carrying through quantum fields. "The Vorax are withdrawing from every dimensional layer." But transformed humanity didn't stop at mere victory. With their newfound power and understanding, they began to heal the damage done to space-time, repairing the boundaries between realities that the Vorax had torn. The Atlas, now a being of pure quantum energy, served as a template for creating stable frameworks of existence that would be forever resistant to dimensional breakdown. We are what the precursors hoped we would become. Shaw's consciousness resonated through the quantum link. Not just their children, but their evolution. The next step in the guardianship of reality. The Nexar fleet broadcast a message across all frequencies. The Guardians have returned, greater than before. The balance will be restored. As the last tears in reality sealed themselves, transformed humanity turned their vast consciousness toward the future. They were no longer just the inhabitants of a single world, but the inheritors of a cosmic legacy. Their mission now was not just to defend Earth, but to maintain the very structure of existence itself. Alina, existing across dimensions yet maintaining her human identity, felt the truth of their new purpose. Humanity had awakened not just to power, but to responsibility. They were the guardians now, protectors of all realities, defenders against chaos. The age of ordinary humanity had ended. The age of the quantum guardians had begun. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, the essence of the ancient precursors stirred with pride as their children finally took their place among the fundamental forces of existence itself.